Namaste and welcome. I'm Karin Lilleberg. I'm a yoga teacher and Ayurvedic practitioner based in London. And my mission here is to support you, to help you find greater health and more vitality in your life. And I'll do that by sharing the tips and wisdom that I've learned on the way, that I've learned on my healing journey. So I'll be sharing tips about yoga, Ayurveda, and meditation. And today I want to talk about the foundations of Ayurveda. Really, what are the cornerstones of this more than 5,000-year-old ancient wisdom from India? And what makes it one of the greatest health sciences that are here on this planet? And so Ayurveda, when we look at it, what it is actually, or what does it mean? It's called the science of life. It's like the art of life. It really gives us the tools and the roadmap for great living and preventing disease and really creating more vitality and joy and happiness in our life. And happiness is not just everything is great in life, but it really is having a greatest health and having more vitality. Yes, we want to live till 100 years old, but if we don't have vitality, if we don't have great health, then these are not really great years anymore. So we want to take care of our health. We want to do everything what we can to increase our longevity and our vitality. So I'll start with definition of health. What does it mean to be healthy from Ayurvedic perspective? So Ayurveda considers great health, not just kind of that we don't have any symptoms or just the absence of disease, but it's actually a perfect harmony or balance between the doshas, which are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, according to our constitution, that we really feel balanced. We feel good, we feel healthy, we feel vital. And also that there is a balance between our mind and our organs, that and everything what we do in life supports that we live our purpose, and we really take actions to live our purpose and contribute into the world, and we do that every day with love, joy, and happiness. So this is like kind of the definition of health. So as you see, it's so much wider and broader and more complex than just, oh, I don't have any disease, so I'm healthy. There is so much more to look into and consider when we really want to be healthy. And there are some really basic cornerstones that help us to build that foundations. And Ayurveda has these like 4 cornerstones that are really most important for us to build that roadmap. And these are ahar, so our diet, our right intake. Then vihar, which is our lifestyle, so we have a right lifestyle. Then it's nidra, right sleep, that we have a good sleeping habit. And then brahmacharya, which is a right use of our energy, that we really manage our energy, what we put out, and then how we share our own energy with others. So these 4 really are like the fundamental cornerstones, or like a building blocks where we can start to build a good health. Because if these are really not there, or we don't pay attention to that, we think, oh, it's just too easy, like why bother, I'm not gonna pay attention, then it doesn't matter how many supplements we take or how many herbs we take, they're really not going to work if the foundations of our diet and our lifestyle and our sleep and how we manage our energy are not there. So pay attention to that. Take a moment to contemplate on that. Take a moment to check in with yourself, like, are you paying attention to all of these kind of seem so easy and basic things to do, but are they actually present in your life? Are you paying attention to them? Are you really considering and really emphasizing that you're doing the best what you can to keep these cornerstones, these foundational parts of your life in good balance? All right, so that was like really the definition of health, and then the cornerstone, what builds that good health, what can we build upon. And then I'm gonna talk now about like what is behind this ancient science. So Ayurveda believed that everything in the universe, everything in life is based on these 5 elements. Everything consists of 5 elements, and all these 5 elements are in nature, and they're also within us, because we are nature. And these 5 elements are space, air, fire, earth, and water. So these 5 elements are in everything in the nature, in the universe, and they're also within us. And these 5 elements then are the kind of the building blocks, or the foundation then for the 3 doshas, which really are like the most important part of Ayurvedic healing, because we start to heal, we start to balance, we look at like how do these doshas function within us. And these 3 doshas are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And they all consist of 1 or 2 of these elements. So Vata consists of air and space. Pitta is mainly fire, but there is a little bit of water, because if we have too much fire, it would burn us up. So we need just a little bit of water in there. And then Kapha is earth and water. Vata is all about mobility and movement. It's responsible for all the movement within us. It makes our heart beat, it makes our blood circulate, it makes our mind work. So all the movement, digestion, everything is moving the digestion, so elimination, all of that is initiated by Vata. Now Pitta is all about transformation and kind of just metabolism, digestion, and transformation in the body. So it's the fire that transforms everything. And then Kapha is for structure and for support. It's our bones and really the bodily structure. Our mind is very stable and it supports that. So these are these three doshas, or like bioenergies, that then consist of one of these 3 doshas, and then they really become like the roadmap for our great health. We treat when there is any imbalance in somebody. If somebody comes to me and is complaining with some health concerns, I will go through the questionnaire and I will pinpoint that which dosha is out of balance. And then I treat the dosha, I treat the person. So in Ayurveda, we don't treat the disease, but we treat the person. We really get to the root cause of what is going on in the person. And then from there, we can create the action plan to help to support that person to become more healthy and more balanced, and really come back to their natural state of being. And so as I mentioned, that these doshas are a combination of these elements, and these elements then as well have qualities to them. So Ayurveda is the qualitative medicine, it's not the quantitative medicine. So we always look like what are the qualities. If somebody has a symptom, I'll start to question, or I really start to search like what are the qualities of this symptom, so I will understand that which dosha is maybe out of balance. So let's look at the qualities of each of these doshas. So let's start with Vata. So the Vata is a combination of air and ether or space. And the qualities of a Vata person are dry, cold, mobile, light, rough. So you get the picture. It's this airy and spacey type. Emotionally they tend towards fear and anxiety, because there is just too much space, there is too much movement in their mind, and so they live too much in the future. So these are the qualities of a Vata person. Then let's look at Pitta. So Pitta is the combination of fire and water. And the qualities of a Pitta person are hot, mobile, sharp, light, and a little bit of an oily. And the Vata person then has is hot inside. It's also like emotionally they tend towards anger, towards rage, and like being really impulsive. But they're also the go-getters. They are the CEOs. They really get things done. So they have great ideas, and they also really manifest this. They go for them, and then they really complete the task. Opposite of Vata. Vata has a lot of ideas. Everything is moving. They're very creative, but then they have difficulty to actually make something out of this, to actually complete the ideas and the task. They hop already onto the next idea and next project. And then we have the Kapha. So the Kapha elements are earth and water. And the qualities of a Kapha person are very stable, cold, wet, heavy, and kind of damp. So Kapha person is like a little bit of a heavy boned, easy to gain weight. But they're also very stable. They're very loyal, very compassionate, very loving. Kapha people are the people who keep the community together. But on the other side as well, they can tend towards attachment and greed, and like you're really holding on to things, and towards depression. So now you will understand a little bit, and if you're already kind of starting to pay attention, because it starts to make sense. So fire is that like a fiery. They also then have the imbalances are very fiery. And Vata is that air is spacey and cold and unstable and always on the go, on the movement. And Kapha is then the earthy type, which is very slow and stable and tends towards depression or going inwards rather than expressing their emotions. And now when we understand what is going on with a person, so we understand what is the balance state, and then when we go out of the balance, so we go towards imbalance and the symptoms will start to arise, then of course we want to bring ourselves back to balance. So as a human beings, we're always moving towards sattva. So sattva is one of the three gunas, or the kind of emotional mental states that we experience in life. And there are three gunas. So there is the sattva, which is the harmony and balance. Then we have rajas, which is the activity, stimulation. And then we have tamas, which is like the lethargy and kind of heaviness and slowness and kind of just don't want to do anything, want to stay in bed, and I don't want to kind of get out and do anything. So we all have these three states, and then we fluctuate between these. But as humans, our soul is always moving towards sattva. So we are always kind of trying to have more sattva. And if we are in balance, our mind and our body, everything is working in balance, then we are really naturally called to make choices and decisions and live a lifestyle that is really supporting that. But if we go out of balance, the mind is going on 1,000 miles, then it's very easy to move away from this sattvic life and choices. So we start to move them more towards rajas or tamas. But we also need all of them. So if a person is very tamasic and can't be bothered to get out of bed, can't be bothered to do anything, they need a little bit of a rajas. They need that little kick to get out, move a little bit, do something to get the energy moving, so that they slowly will start to move towards sattva. Because it's really difficult to move straight from tamas to sattva. We need in the middle a little bit of that rajas. But on the other hand as well, if we have too much rajas, if there's too much activity, we are too kind of anxious and moving, and everything is constantly non-stop going, we don't take any time to actually just be and rest and contemplate, then there is too much aggravation in our system, and it's also really hard to kind of get into sattva, then we need to calm down. We need to do the practices that help us to ground us, so that eventually the sattva within us will start to rise. All right, so far we have looked at the 3 doshas, and then the 5 elements, pancha mahabhutas, what they consist of, and then the 3 gunas, the like an energetic, emotional, mental states, what we experience, and remembering that we're always moving towards sattva. And the more we make the choices, and the more we have the commitment to move towards that, the more balanced we will feel, the more harmonious we'll feel, the more joy we'll feel, and the more happiness we will experience in life. Okay, and now let's look at then what happens if we go out of balance. So what happens if we do a lot of things that are not really supporting our natural health and our good health, and we start to move away from our natural state, which is the dosha what we were born with. It's called prakriti. This is our really our natural state. So the vata, pitta, and kapha, we're all born with one of them, and that is determined on our conception. So you can call it your DNA, if you will. It's determined on your conception, and it will never change in your life. But then we're born, and then life happens. We start to do the things, we start to live the life that is not really supporting that great health and balance within us. And we start to move away from our prakriti, like from our natural state. And then we move into vikriti, which is the current state of imbalance. So when we are experiencing any symptoms, we want to look at that vikriti. What is going on? What are the symptoms? And then we'll do everything what we can with our diet, our lifestyle, and with herbs to bring the dosha back towards its natural state, towards its original constitution, prakriti. So let's look at the imbalances of these 3 doshas. So let's look at the vata person. So vata, as you said, like its qualities are cold and rough and mobile and light and dry. So that's kind of its natural state. And so if we want to bring balance into it, we want to apply the opposite. But the imbalanced vata, if the vata goes into excess, then the person will experience more and more anxiety and fear. They will experience digestive discomfort. Very often they feel they have constipation, they feel bloated, they feel gassy, their skin is really dry, and the hair get thin, the nails are brittle, and they will usually have, or not usually, but very often they will have the degenerative diseases like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. Because it's just the mind is just so busy and so unstable all the time. So these would be like just some of the symptoms of imbalanced vata person. And now imbalanced pitta person, as the pitta qualities were the hot and the mobile and sharp and oily. So when the pitta goes into excess, all of that goes into excess as well. And this will start to manifest as skin rashes or eczema or psoriasis, eye disorders, or losing the eyesight, early balding or graying. So people start to lose the hair very early. And and then emotionally there is a lot of kind of anger and rage within them. They also, because pitta is also the fire and all about the digestion, so they also often can experience then acid reflux and just kind of burning sensation within them. So these would be the pitta imbalances. And now kapha. So kapha qualities are wet and heavy and stable and cold, And if these go into excess, or the Vata person goes out of balance, they will manifest as congestion, like cough, pneumonia, and depression and allergies as well. So everything is like an accumulating in the body, so they can't really release things from their body. They start to accumulate and just kind of gather everything, edema as well. So these would be the imbalances of the Vata or Kapha person. And in Ayurveda we have the saying that like attracts like, and the opposite brings balance. So now if we know that the Vata person is out of balance, and there is too much air and space and too much cold and everything within their system, so we need to apply the opposite qualities. And I will talk about that in a moment when I start to talk about food, because we very often we can do that with the food, so that we bring the opposite qualities into our diet, so that we can balance that. So let's look at a little bit then at the food. But before we get to the food, we want to look at one of the key principles, or like key functions in our body that help us to digest food, but also digest everything what we take in through our five senses. And that is called Agni, which is our digestive fire. And this is responsible for everything what we take in as a food or as a drink, or through our eyes, through what we look at, what we listen at, what we put on our skin. So that Agni, that digestive fire, has to process it all. It has to transform it all. And it transforms it either into consciousness and into nutrients, or it transforms it into poison. So we want to make sure that the Agni is really strong and it's working well. So Agni, it's also called as a fire, so digestive fire. So you can look at it or think about what is it. It's like as a concept of as a fire, like a campfire. So you want to tend to that fire. So you put a fire on, you want to cook some food on it. So at first you want to really tend to that fire. It needs some space, it needs some air, not too much logs, not too much on it. So it has just good amount of material, wood, to have a nice strong fire. So same with the Agni within us, that it needs tending, it needs our attention. One of the important things for that is that we don't eat too often. Because what happens with the fire, so if you have this campfire and you keep putting more and more logs on it, or you put some sand on it, or whatever, you constantly all the time putting, it doesn't have that space to really become strong and have this power behind it to cook the food. So you don't want to eat too often. Digestion happens, we digest the previous meal in at least 4 hours up to 6 hours. So you don't want to be snacking in between. You want to give that space so that the body can completely digest the previous meal, and then the fire will get stronger and stronger and stronger. You start to feel some hunger, and it's a healthy thing to feel hunger. Today's society, we barely ever feel hungry. As soon as we have a little bit of a feeling that, oh, I'm a little bit hungry, we straight away we go and grab something. We start to snack. We straight away put something into our mouth, and that will disturb the Agni. It doesn't allow it to really become strong and powerful. Another thing is that we eat too much in one sitting, that we overeat in our meals, and as well that we don't chew our food. So these three things, they are so simple, but I promise they will make profound difference in your health if you start to do that. Chew your food till it's liquid. Don't overeat, and don't eat too often. Leave at least 4 to 6 hours between each meal, and your digestive fire, your Agni, will love that. It will become strong. It will help you to transform all the food and everything that you take in, and it transforms it into a healthy nutrients that will support your body, will support every single tissue in your body, and you will be able to digest everything that you take in. In Ayurveda, we also say that we are not what we eat, but we are what we digest. Yes, it's very important what we eat, but it's even more important how we eat, when we eat, and where we eat. So you want to have your meal times a sacred time, that you really sit down, you don't have TV on, you don't scroll on your phone, you don't read something, you have a nice sacred time of eating. So you eat mindfully, you chew your food, and you sit down, you don't eat on the go, because when we're doing all of these things on the side of eating, the body can't do everything at the same time. Our digestion can't work with everything at the same time. So you want to have a one task at a time. So it can't digest the information that we're taking in through our eyes or through our mind or through listening, and digest the food as well. So give your mealtime that importance, that you just eat, you don't do anything else. Yes, you can have a lovely conversation with your partner, with your family, and really enjoy the meal, but don't consume any media or anything other on the side. So that's just now a little bit of understanding, like what is the foundation of a good digestion is that Agni, that you want to really tend to your Agni. And then when the Agni is strong, we can digest everything what we eat. We still pay attention that it's good for our constitution, it's good for our dosha, but it's much easier. We don't have that many digestive issues and discomfort if we keep our Agni strong. So let's look at the food from Ayurvedic perspective. So we want to make sure that we're eating according to our dosha, that we really look at the qualities what we need that will support our dosha. So that would be as let's say the Vata person is cold and dry and rough. So we don't want to eat more of these. We want to apply the opposite. As I said, like attracts like, and the opposite brings balance. So we want to eat the opposite quality. So for the Vata person, we want to add more grounding foods like grains and soups and stews and root vegetables, and really foods that help to ground it. And also the activities, we want to have the regularity in our life. For the Pitta person is that hot and fiery person. So if we put more of a hot, spicy things into our system, it will create more of the heat. So we want to apply the opposite, that we want to have more cooling foods and drinks. And for the Kapha person, it's they want to have a lot of sweets and like really heavy meals, because like attracts like, so they are kind of drawn towards these foods. But we want to apply the opposite. We really want to spice up their food. We want to have more lighter food and spicy and lighter foods for the Kapha person. Not too much oil, just the proper amount, but not too much. On the other hand, for the Vata, who is very dry and rough, they need to have a lot of oil, a lot of ghee in their foods. And then another concept that Ayurveda pays attention to is the 6 tastes. That we want to pay attention that there are 6 tastes in each of our meals, not just throughout the day or like whenever we feel like that. And each meal has these 6 tastes, because if the tongue tastes that taste or that flavor, it will start to send the signals to our brain, and so we'll start to secrete specific enzymes through the stomach so that we can digest that food. So we want to pay attention to these 6 tastes, and the 6 tastes are sweet, sour, salty, bitter, astringent, and pungent. And they also consist of the elements. So like, let's look at the sweet taste. Sweet taste is a combination of earth and water. So if you are a little bit overweight, you don't want to have too much of a sweet taste in your food, like sweet potatoes or grains or dairy, because they will bulk you up. So you want to have the opposite of this scale. You want to have a little bit more pungent or like bitter and astringent foods. So, and then but on the other hand, if you need to gain some weight, you want to have more sweet flavor in your food. And then the sour is earth and fire, and the salt is water and fire. The pungent is fire and air. Astringent is air and earth. and the bitter are air and space. So these are also then these elements that show up in the taste. And the bitter and the pungent and the sour will help our digestion. So you want to make sure that you always, if your digestion is not working really well, you want to have a little bit more perhaps of these tastes in your meal. So let's look, how would that look like as an example? Like, how can we add all of these tastes into our meal? So let's say we have rice. So we have rice is a sweet. So we have the sweet flavor done. Then the salt will be through some salt or some seaweed that will give us the salty taste. Astringent will be the beans. Let's say, yeah, so they can be the beans, and then pungent will be the spices like ginger and other like turmeric and other spices. They will give us the pungent taste. And bitter will be the dark leafy greens. And sour will be, you just squeeze a few drops of lime on your meal, and you will have the sour taste as well. And so you'll have the full 6 tastes on your plate, and it will really nourish and nurture your body. As I mentioned before, that Ayurveda is not a quantitative medicine, it's a qualitative medicine. So we don't count macronutrients or micronutrients, but we look in the quality. So we look at this, okay, the sweet has this earth and water, and has this quality. So it's like a sweet and earthy and heavy quality to it. So as a Vata person, they need more of that. So that means that they will need to have the sweet potatoes and grains and a little bit of dairy or something like that. Not sweet as a sugar, but just a sweet flavor. And then for the Pitta person, they want to have a little bit more cooling, like coconut water maybe in their meal, have some coconut milk in their meals, like aloe vera and things like that are like parsley, cilantro as their spices or as their herbs that will bring a little bit more of that cooling energy into them. And that's as well, like when you look at these elements, as I mentioned, how these elements show up in the taste, you will understand straight away. So as I said, that pungent is fire and air, so there is fire within this. You already know that this will be heating. So if you eat ginger, if you eat turmeric, you know that it will heat up it will have the heating effect on your body. But then on the other hand, if you have that sweet, which has earth and water, it's quite cooling on the body. So we also always want to look at that. Is that food heating or cooling for us? And we'll understand again how can we bring the opposite quality into the meal. And so that's how we really want to bring the balance into the being, is when we apply the opposite quality. So one more example here is like how the diet will affect us. So I'll bring in Vata again, because it's very easy for me to talk about Vata because I am Vata. So I can very easily bring some examples from that. And Vata is actually out of balance for many people because of our life and our lifestyle and our constant being on the phones and on the computers. There's a lot of movement. So Vata is actually out of balance for very many people right at these days. So we first always want to bring the Vata down. But now let's look at the Vata person. So as I said, like attracts like, and the opposite brings balance. So the Vata people, they want to, so they're attracted to this dry, rough, cold thing. So they might be snacking on the popcorn. They will have this crunchy cold salad for their lunch, and because they're so forgetful, they forget to have their breakfast completely. So this will really shoot the Vata up even more. And they will start to have, over time, will start to have some symptoms. And then how can we bring the balance is we apply the opposite. So we'll have warm foods, always cooked foods, always 3 meals at the regular times. we go to bed at the same time, we wake up at the same time. And for a diet, so we have this like a warm cooked heavier foods, a lot of grains, a lot of rice, root vegetables with plenty of oil in it, ghee, like really a lot of ghee to help them to lubricate their body, to nourish their body and really ground their body. And so let's then look at the Pitta person. They want to have their spicy food. They want to have their curries and put a lot of ginger and garlic, everything into their meals. But that will create even more of that kind of stimulation and aggravation and fire within them. So you want to add then the opposite things, maybe a little bit more cooler grains and like cooling foods that will help to bring that down. So this is a very simple concept, like attracts like and the opposite brings balance. So when you start to understand what is your dosha and then what are your qualities, and if you're experiencing any symptom, look at it. Is it the symptom, is it cool or is it hot or is it like kind of heavy? Like what are the quality of the symptom, and then you know that's how you will need to apply the opposite quality to bring the balance, as we're always wanting to move towards the sattva and towards the balance. And finally, I'll talk about daily rituals as well. So as I already mentioned, that we want to have the regularity in our life. So especially for Vata person, it's crucial to have regularity in their life, that we eat at the same time, we go to bed and wake up at the same time, we work out at the same time. So as much regularity as possible, because when we have these regular times for everything, and when we have really rituals in our life, we have this like a touch points throughout the day when we really know that we are taking care of ourselves, we have our own support. Through that we really become our own healer, that we don't have to always go out and search for somebody to tell us what to do. We can tune in and we can really take care of our own body and mind. And these daily rituals, so they're called dinacharya in Ayurveda, and they are these daily rituals. We have a morning ritual and then we have an evening ritual. So the morning we wake up at the same time, ideally before the sunrise. We do our cleansing procedures. We cleanse the tongue, we cleanse the nose with the neti pot, and then we drink warm water. And then we have a meditation practice, breath practice, pranayama practice, and maybe some asana as well, which will really set us up for the day. And then the evening as well, you want to have a little evening ritual, like an anchor point for you to really take a moment to look back, like how was the day, what happened, what went well, what didn't go that well. What can I do to have a better day tomorrow, so that we set ourselves up for the next day. And then we have the regular eating times and exercise times and everything. So we create this dinacharya for ourselves. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't start all of the things at the same time. Maybe you just do one thing. Maybe you start to have your meals at the same time. Do that for a couple of weeks and see how that goes. Once you're used to that, then maybe you add another ritual, another practice into your day and into your life. So I think that's it for the basic foundations of Ayurveda, like really to understand like how can you become your own healer, so that you don't have to search for the answers from outside, because eventually they really are within you. Yes, we need some wisdom, we need some guidance to understand, and as an Ayurvedic practitioner, that's my job here, is like I'm here to educate you. So if you come and have a one-to-one session, yes, I'll give you action plan, but I will also really educate you so that eventually you will take charge of your own health and your own life. And with every single little symptom, you don't have to run to a new doctor, but you know how to take care of yourself when something is going out of balance and you're starting to experience any kind of symptoms. So I really hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please do reach out. And if you would like to have a one-to-one consultation, if you have any specific health concerns or some more serious questions and inquiries, then please book a one-on-one consultation. I'm here to help you and support you on your road, on your journey towards greater vitality and better health. So till next time, I'll say you namaste, and I'll see you again.